This is our tutorial on type 2 simultaneous equations. So the equations are set up in the same way, but this time there's a difference. This time with type 2 problems, we still have the same number of y's, but the signs are the same. So the process we're going to have to go through to solve these is slightly different. So what are the processes we're going to have to go through? Well, this time, rather than adding the equations, we subtract one from the other, because if we subtract something from itself, it cancels out. That will give us an equation just in x. So we solve for x, and then we substitute it into any of the equations. I typically tend to pick the one with the smallest number of y's, but it doesn't really matter. We then solve that equation for y, and just like in the type 1 equations, we check in the other equation. Okay, here's one to show as an example. So we can see it's type 2. We've got 4 y's in each case and the signs are the same. I've put on the right hand side of the screen the steps we're going to go through. So we're going to subtract one equation from the other. But before we do that, we're going to label our equations. So if I do 5x take away 3x, I get 2x. 4y take away 4y cancels, that's why we do the subtraction. 6 take away 2 is 4. So there's our first equation. We now solve for x, so x equals 2. We substitute that into any of the equations. I'm going to put it into the top one. So I'm substituting x into 1, just telling the person what I'm doing. And so instead of 5x's, it's 5 2's. So I can replace the 5x in equation 1 by 10. So I'm now going to solve this equation. So I'm going to take 10 away from both sides. So 4y equals minus 4. Divide both sides by 4. So y equals minus 1. So my solution is 2 minus 1. So I'm saying the lines of these graphs would cross at 2 minus 1. Okay, here is one for you to try. You can see it's type 2. We do have the same number of y's, and in each case here there is just one of them. You're going to want to pause this video, do it on your own, and then check your solution against mine. And again, I've put the steps that you're going to go through on the right hand side of the screen. So pause the video. Okay, let's see how you've done. So the first thing you should do is always label your equations. Step 1 says we're going to subtract one equation away from the other, and I'm going to go for the one with the most number of x's. That's always going to be simpler. So I'm going to have equation 1 take away equation 2. So 4x take away x is 3x, 25 take away 10 is 15. We solve that to get x equals 5. We substitute it back into one of the equations. I've got into equation 1, but equation 2 is probably easier. So 4x's, well, instead of 4x's, it's 4 5's, which is 20. So 20 plus y is 25, so y is 5. I've also included in this tutorial a worksheet that you can use, and you can find a link to that in the description below. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. Staying in field with Winfield.